Every day, millions of Americans use Amazon without thinking about Amazon. They order something. A box arrives. They open it, throw away the packaging, and move on. That's the Amazon everyone sees. But there's another Amazon operating underneath the surface. And it doesn't sell you anything. It sells the infrastructure that other companies use to run their businesses. It's called Amazon Web Services, and it has become so profitable that Amazon's business looks very different when you follow the money. In 2025, Amazon generated about $717 billion in revenue. AWS generated about $129 billion of that. So AWS was only around 18% of Amazon's sales. But then look at operating income. Amazon generated about $80 billion in operating income in 2025. AWS generated $45.6 billion. That's roughly 57% of Amazon's total operating income. So the smaller part of Amazon's business was producing more than half of its operating income. And in 2026, the gap is becoming even harder to ignore. In the second quarter alone, Amazon reported $27.5 billion in company-wide operating income. AWS generated $16.6 billion of it. That's about 60%. At the same time, AWS revenue jumped 37% from a year earlier. Amazon says that puts AWS on a roughly $169 billion annualized revenue run rate. This isn't a side business attached to Amazon anymore. It's one of the company's main engines. But here's what makes the story unusual. AWS wasn't originally created to become a giant cloud business. Amazon needed massive amounts of computing infrastructure simply to operate Amazon. Its engineers needed servers. Its websites needed databases. Its systems needed storage. Its technology had to handle enormous changes in demand. Amazon was effectively building an internal infrastructure machine just to keep the retail business running. Then came the realization: if Amazon had this problem, other companies probably had it too. Instead of every company building its own data centers, servers, and software infrastructure, Amazon could provide those resources as a service. That became AWS. And suddenly, infrastructure built for Amazon could become infrastructure sold to everyone else. That's a very different business from selling a television or a pair of shoes. When Amazon sells a physical product, the product has to move. It needs storage. It needs fulfillment. It needs transportation. It may need to be returned. AWS doesn't work that way. Its customers are buying computing power, storage, databases, and other digital services. Amazon still has enormous costs to build and operate the infrastructure, but the same underlying infrastructure can serve many customers. That creates the potential for powerful operating leverage. And Amazon is now spending enormous amounts of money expanding that infrastructure. In 2025, Amazon's total purchases of property and equipment reached about $131.8 billion. The company said its free cash flow was heavily affected by increased investment in artificial intelligence and other infrastructure. So Amazon isn't simply preparing for more packages, it's preparing for more computing. And that brings us to something most people don't realize. You can use a company powered by AWS without ever seeing an Amazon logo. Netflix, for example, has migrated much of its technology infrastructure to AWS. Other software companies, retailers, financial businesses, and startups can also use Amazon's cloud infrastructure. The customer sees their app. They see their streaming service. They see their website. Behind the scenes, there can be an entirely different business supplying the computing power. That's the real strategic shift. Amazon started by building infrastructure to sell things to customers. Then it discovered it could sell the infrastructure itself. The store brought Amazon into people's homes. AWS put Amazon underneath other businesses. And now, artificial intelligence is creating another enormous demand for computing infrastructure. That means Amazon's future isn't just about how many packages it can deliver. It's also about how much of the digital economy it can help power. The strange thing is that the most important part of Amazon's business may be the part you never see. You see the box, you see the Prime logo, you see the delivery van. But underneath that visible Amazon is a massive network of servers, data centers, software, and computing infrastructure. The retail business made Amazon famous. AWS helped make Amazon something much bigger. And that's the Amazon underneath Amazon. If you enjoy discovering the hidden business systems behind everyday American life, subscribe to The Business Unseen. There's a lot more happening behind the things you use every day.